I did something kind of crazy again. After surviving my first undercover experiment on Tinder, I thought I'd seen it all. I mean, how much worse could it get, right? Well, it turns out I had no idea. This time I took my fake female persona, Jennifer, onto Bumble, the app where women are required to make the first move. I wanted to see what dating feels like when the roles are reversed, when I'm the one who has to say hi first. Spoiler alert, it was even more intense than I expected. In some ways, even worse than Tinder. Let me set the stage. I dusted off Jennifer's profile, the same photos of my friend, with her permission of course, the same down-to-earth bio about loving books and nature walks. I created her account on Bumble, and pretty quickly, the likes and matches started rolling in. But here's the catch. On Bumble, nothing happens unless the woman sends the first message. So even though I was matching with a lot of guys, my message inbox was crickets. Just a polite note from Bumble. You matched with Alex. Now you have 24 hours to start a conversation. No more flood of gorgeous or up like on Tinder. Instead, the pressure was on me to break the ice with each and every one of these matches. And trust me, that pressure is real. At first, I was actually excited to be in control of the conversation starter. I thought, finally, I won't have to deal with creepy openers because I'll be the one saying hello. How hard could it be to send a quick message? Well, standing there, staring at my phone, looking at all these profiles of strangers I'd matched with, I felt this wave of hesitation I didn't expect. My thumbs hovered over the keyboard, and suddenly I was nervous. What do I even say? Do I just say, hey, how's it going? That felt too bland. Do I try a cheesy joke about something in their profile? What if they think it's dumb and don't reply? I caught myself overthinking every word, crafting and deleting first messages like I was composing the opening line of a novel. Then came the waiting. Oh, the waiting. Let me tell you, waiting for a reply when you're the one who initiated, it messes with your head. Bumble shows you that the message was sent, but then it's just silence until or unless they answer. After a couple of minutes of nothing, I started second guessing my approach. Maybe that joke wasn't funny. Did I come on too strong or too boring? I felt a tiny pit in my stomach, that little sting of potential rejection. And remember, this is me, a dude playing pretend on a dating app experiment. But in that moment, it felt real. I realized this is what countless women probably feel. You put yourself out there with a simple message and then crickets. Some guys did respond, of course. My dog-related opener got a fast reply. Turns out people love talking about their dogs. That conversation started off easy enough. He answered my question. The dog's name was Charlie. And he even asked me about Jennifer's pets. It felt like a normal, nice chat. I had a brief moment of, oh wow, this is actually pleasant. But others? Well, not so much. The hiking guy? He answered my question with, lol, I don't really hike. My friend made me go on one trail. That was it. No question back, nothing. Just basically shutting down the topic. I stared at his reply thinking, okay, so what am I supposed to say to that? It was like pulling teeth to get him to talk. I tossed another question out there about what he does for fun, and he gave me a one-word answer. At that point, I just let that one go. And then there were a couple of matches, more than a couple actually, who never replied at all. I sent a friendly, hey, or a question, and got complete silence. They just let the 24-hour timer run out. Poof, match gone. That honestly surprised me. Here I was, Jennifer, offering up a conversation, and these dudes just never responded? It's like, why did you even swipe right on her if you weren't going to engage at all? I caught myself actually feeling a bit hurt by the non-responses, which is wild, because logically, I know it's just some random guy on a dating app who has no clue I'm not actually a woman named Jennifer. But I guess rejection, even tiny, impersonal, didn't even say a word rejection, Still hits. I started doubting my openers. Was I too generic? Too forward? Not interesting enough? I always thought the hardest part for women on apps was fending off unwanted attention. But here I was, with plenty of matches, and I felt this weird mixture of loneliness and frustration when so many conversations just never even got off the ground. It's like standing in a room full of people, but nobody wants to talk, or they talk once and wander off. On Tinder, I felt overwhelmed by too much attention. On Bumble, I felt the emptiness of putting out energy and not getting it back. And don't get me wrong, not all the responses were bad or non-existent. Some conversations did get rolling. But even then, I noticed something interesting. After my initial message, a lot of guys seemed to kinda relax and wait for me to carry the conversation. It's like they figured, okay, she messaged first, she can do the heavy lifting now. I asked them questions, they answered politely, maybe asked one back. But if I didn't keep the momentum, things fizzled. I was leading almost every interaction, at least in the beginning, and that was exhausting. I was basically juggling multiple small talk threads at once, trying to keep each guy engaged, remembering who said what, all while monitoring that 24-hour countdown on new matches I hadn't messaged yet. At one point, I had about a dozen active chats going, and a list of other matches I hadn't even reached out to. I'm not gonna lie, my brain was fried. It felt like I was working customer service, flipping between chat windows, making sure everyone felt attended to. This fun little experiment quickly started to feel like a part-time job. There was one evening where I just put my phone down and didn't open Bumble again until the next day. I needed a break. When I logged back in, I saw that a few of the guys I had matched with, but hadn't messaged yet, had their matches expire. They were gone. And a couple of the guys I was talking to had sent follow-up messages while I was offline. One said, "You there?" with a sad face. Another just sent a question mark, as if to poke me for an answer. And one actually unmatched me overnight after I didn't reply for a few hours. That blew my mind. The exact same thing I experienced on Tinder, guys getting cranky when Jennifer didn't reply fast, was happening on Bumble too, even though I was the one who started these conversations. It's like once I, as a woman, opened the door, some of these guys expected me to be available 24/7 for them. The entitlement was still there, just waiting under a polite surface. That realization hit hard. Even on an app designed to put women in control, the same old dynamics can creep back in as soon as the conversation starts. Now, I want to pause for a second here and say something. If you're listening to this and you're finding it eye-opening or even just interesting, it would mean a lot to me if you take a moment to hit that subscribe button or give this video a thumbs up. I'm out here basically doing social experiments on myself, putting myself through the ringer so we can all learn something. This whole Undercover Male series is about getting real, unfiltered insight into what the other side experiences. So if you're into that kind of thing and you want to see where this journey goes next, consider subscribing. It honestly helps so much and keeps me motivated to dive even deeper. All right, thank you. Now, back to the story. So, where was I? Right, waking up to expired matches and moody messages. At this point, I had been running the Bumble experiment for about 3 days, and I'll admit, I was starting to feel burnt out. The funny thing is, it wasn't the same kind of burnout I felt on Tinder. Tinder was like being stuck in a crowded, noisy room, too many people yelling for my attention, a lot of it unwelcome. Bumble was more like I was on stage in that room, trying to perform and keep people interested, and feeling crappy when the applause didn't come, or the audience wandered off. Two different kinds of exhausting, but both exhausting nonetheless. One thing that really struck me were the profiles I came across while swiping as Jennifer. I have to mention this because it was an unexpected part of the experience. As a guy, I've never had to swipe through men's profiles before. Obviously. Let me tell you, it was enlightening. The number of bathroom mirror selfies, shirtless gym pics, and blurry group photos, I saw, yikes. A lot of profiles were practically empty, or just had a single line like, work hard, play hard. Some had weirdly aggressive bios, complaining about no drama, or if you're high maintenance, swipe left. It was a stark contrast to many female profiles I've seen, where women often put effort into cute bios or at least have varied photos. I started to understand why so many women say a lot of guys' profiles are terrible. Because honestly, many were. And that made my job as Jennifer harder. How do you message someone when their profile gives you nothing to go on? Like, what am I supposed to say? Hey, I see you have abs and like to party. Cool. I actually did try commenting on one guy's profile where he had a travel photo. I said something like, awesome picture. Where was that taken? He responded with the country name and then is nothing else. Didn't even ask me a question back. It's like some of these guys on Bumble have gotten so used to swiping that they don't know how to hold a conversation when a woman actually reaches out. By the end of my Bumble experiment, I felt a whole mix of emotions. I was disappointed that this women talk first idea didn't magically fix dating or make it easier. In fact, some parts of the Bumble experience felt even worse than Tinder, just in a different way. I was frustrated at how much effort I had to put in just to have basic conversations that often went nowhere. I was surprised by how many matches simply evaporated, despite me doing everything right by saying hello. I was disturbed that even when women are in control of the opener, they still end up dealing with entitlement or being taken for granted so fast. Perhaps the biggest emotion, though, empathy. A new, deeper kind of empathy than even the Tinder experiment gave me. I found myself thinking, if I, a guy just doing this for a short experiment, felt rejected, drained, and honestly a little demoralized after a few days on Bumble, what about the real women who use this app for weeks, months, years? Women who are genuinely trying to find a connection, but who have to constantly put themselves out there, message after message, only to be ignored by half, hassled by some, and maybe occasionally get a decent conversation that still might not lead to anything. That thought broke my heart a bit, because I only tasted it for a weekend. For women, this is their everyday reality in online dating. We often hear guys say, ugh, women have it so easy. They just sit back and get all the attention. Maybe it looks that way from the outside. On Tinder, for example, women might get bombarded, and it seems like they have all the choice. But Bumble showed me a side that guys don't see. Having a lot of options isn't the same as having good options, or any real options at all. And being the one to initiate actually can put even more weight on you. It's like you have all these matches, but each one is another conversation you have to start, another potential awkward silence, another little leap of faith that this one might be worth it. It's emotionally taxing. So here's what I ultimately learned from playing a woman on Bumble. If you're a woman navigating these apps, especially Bumble, I salute you. Seriously. The patience, the courage it takes to keep putting yourself out there. I see it now. You don't owe anyone a perfect one-liner or a speedy reply, or even an explanation if you decide not to message someone. You're doing what you have to do to survive in this weird dating jungle. Whether you send a simple hi or a funny paragraph, you're doing your best, and that's enough. If a match expires because you didn't have the energy or interest to start a chat with every single person, so be it. Your mental health matters more than keeping a random dude entertained. And if you're a guy listening to this, especially if you're one of those guys who's been sitting on Bumble waiting for women to drop into your lap, I've got a few words for you. First, respect the effort. If a woman messages you first, do you realize how much thought she might have put into that? The tiny rush of nerves she might have felt. Don't take that lightly. Don't just answer with one-word replies and make her do all the work. Meet her halfway. Actually read her profile. Ask her something. Engage. And if she doesn't message you right away, or if the conversation lags for a bit, be patient Everyone's human on the other side of that screen. Oh, and please, for the love of God, check your profile. Put a little effort into it. After seeing what a lot of women see, I can tell you a couple decent photos and a halfway interesting bio can make a world of difference. Help her out a little. Give her something to start a conversation with, you know? At the end of this Bumble adventure, I can confidently say I've gained an even deeper appreciation for what women deal with in online dating. I thought I got it after the Tinder experiment. And I did, to a point. I understood the harassment and the flood of unwanted attention side of things. But Bumble taught me about the subtle stuff, the emotional labor, the second guessing, the weird disconnect of feeling in charge, but also feeling ignored. It's complex. It's not as black and white as this app good, that app bad. It's more like no matter the platform, women are navigating a maze that most men don't even realize exists. I walked away from this with a slice of humble pie. Like, okay, I really don't have any urge to complain about having to send the first message ever again. I lived it, and it can suck. Empathy isn't just a buzzword. You have to step into someone's shoes to truly understand where they're pinching. Well, consider my feet blistered, but my mind opened. Thank you for coming along with me on this wild ride. To every woman who's ever felt exhausted or disheartened by these apps, I see you, and I get it a little more now. That's it for today's episode of Undercover Male. I appreciate you being here and listening to my story. If you found this worthwhile, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe or share this with someone who could use a dose of perspective. I've got more undercover adventures on the horizon, and trust me, we're just getting started. Until next time, stay safe out there and keep trying to understand each other. I'll catch you in the next one.